You've seen the ads. They're everywhere. A guy named Dr. Sean Patel looking straight into the camera, telling you how he went from an average student to a perfect 2400 SAT score, how to deal with Mark Cuban on Shark Tank, and can somehow guarantee a 200-point score increase for your child. It's a brilliant pitch. It's the ultimate American dream story, and it's working. PrepExpert claims to have served over 100,000 students and made tens of millions of dollars. But what happens when you peel back the layers? See, when you look at the BBB, Better Business Bureau complaints, when you read the fine print of that famous 200-point guarantee, and when you look at the reality of the test he actually took compared to the test that your kid is taking today, the story starts to look very, very fishy. Today, we're doing a deep dive into PrepExpert. We're going to show you the loopholes that they use in order to deny refunds, the reality of their pricing, and why the perfect score marketing might be the biggest illusion in education today.
Let's start with the foundation of the entire company, the origin story. Sean Patel, he's a brilliant marketer. You see, the entire PrepExpert brand is built on his personal narrative of, I got a perfect 2400 on the SAT. I got rejected from the Ivy League anyway, but I figured out the secret to the test. Went on Shark Tank, got Mark Cuban to invest, and now I'm an MD, MBA. It's an incredible resume. I'm not going to lie. It sounds crazy, but here's the massive glaring problem with using it to sell test prep in 2026. You see, the test Sean Patel took doesn't even exist anymore. He got a 2400 on the old version of the SAT. We're talking about the paper and pencil test from over a decade ago. It's a completely different test. That test had 3 sections, including a mandatory essay, tested obscure vocabulary words, and it penalized you for wrong answers. Think about that. So the test your kid is taking today, it's nothing like this. It's the digital SAT out of 1600 points, and it's adaptive. So that's meaning that the difficulty changes based on how you answer. You see, the reading passages are entirely different. The math section is also entirely different. So selling test prep today based on a score from the 2400 SAT era is like selling a course on how to be a TikTok influencer because you had a really popular MySpace page in 2010 and 2008. See how big of a difference that is. So the strategy Sean Patel's using to be test a decade ago were built for a static paper-based exam. The digital SAT is a completely different beast. So you just have to remember that, and you have to remember that the marketing for Sean Patel is still heavily on that 2400 score because it sounds impressive to parents who don't know the test has completely changed. Wait, one thing, Sophic, I can hear myself in the background.
Oh,
I don't know if it's echoing.
my echo cancellation's on. Your echo cancellation's on. So I think it should be good. Because this is the same setup we had for the other videos and they came out right. But yeah, so that is exactly right. And then what about the guarantee? Let's hop on their website for a little second. All right, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Say less. So first things first, they're offering some kind of free live webinar. Now, if you're a parent or student watching, do not put your information into this. This right here is what we call a scam. See, basically, he's going to tell you this webinar only happens once, but really they run this webinar every other day. It's automatic too. It's not even him talking. They have a video of him that rolls and they just replay it for all the new webinar people. And what they say, 7 strategies to help your child earn 100,000 plus in college scholarships and ace the digital SAT. Now, if you're a parent, you have to be wondering, what does he know about acing the digital SAT? He's literally 40 years old. He took the ancient written SAT out of 2400. So what actual credibility does he have on the digital SAT? It makes absolutely no sense. But once we exit out of this, also keep in mind to the fine print right here. Basically, as soon as you sign up, you're going to get spammed by PrepExpert. But let's dive in. Now, the most important thing right here, 200-point improvement guarantee. Let's really dive into that. So what about this guarantee? See, this is the main reason why parents drop $1,200 on a 6-week flagship course. If my kid doesn't improve by 200 points, I get my money back. It's risk-free. But let's look at the Better Business Bureau's complaints. PrepExpert has multiple complaints specifically regarding this guarantee. Here's a real BBB complaint that was filed recently. A family bought the course based on the 200-point guarantee. The daughter worked for 7 weeks, completed the assignments, and her score only went up by 20 points. The family asked for their money back, and then PrepExpert denied the refund. Why? Because the family had purchased the unlimited prep package, and buried in the fine print of that, the 200-point guarantee does not apply to the unlimited prep package. It only applies to specific individual courses. The parent wrote, "We watched your company's webinar in which the 200-point guarantee was explicitly stated as part of the program being promoted. We also have multiple email communications referencing the same exact guarantee in writing." At no point did any of your representatives, materials, or order pages clearly disclose that the unlimited prep program, the higher level program, does not include the guarantee. PrepExpert's response, they pointed to the terms of services links, but it gets worse. Let's look at the actual terms of service for the courses that do have the guarantee. These are the hoops that your teenager has to jump through to actually qualify for a refund if their score doesn't go up. 1, they must attend 80% of the live classes, and they must be logged in for at least 2 hours and 24 minutes of each 3-hour class. They must answer at least 80% of the poll questions posed during the live classes. If they step away to use a bathroom and they miss a poll question, the guarantee is voided. They must turn in 90% of their homework assignments on time. 1 minute late, guarantee voided. They must complete 100% of practice tests on time. Each practice test must be completed within a strict 6-hour window. If they take a break between sections and it pushes past 6 hours, guarantee voided. Do you see what's happening here? They aren't guaranteeing that their teaching methods work. They're relying on the fact that teenagers are teenagers. They know that almost no high school student is going to perfectly execute every single micro requirement over a 6-week period. This guarantee is not a promise of quality. It's a marketing hook protected by an obstacle course of fine print. So when you look at this website, you can just ignore that guarantee right there. And it's just one of the many examples of the fishiness that Sean Patel is executing on this website.
Exactly. There's just so much on this website that Sean Patel's just doing simply just to scam you. And the part is that really sucks is most families don't know this. Most families are very innocent and they're just trying to look for that boost in their child's SAT score. And what they end up with is just a program that doesn't help them at all. And also now a fat bill. It really sucks. So now let's move on to section 3, which is going to be the Reddit reality check. And so don't just take my word for it. Let's actually look at what students say on Reddit. You see, let's go to Reddit. So, all right. So on the SAT subreddit, which is honestly the most hardcore, that's takers. you're ever going to see. They said, I actually hate my life. After dozens of practice tests and hours of prep, a course that guaranteed a 1,500 plus, this is what I get. My parents are going to kill me. The student posted a screenshot of a 1430. Now, 1430 is a good score, but they were promised a 1,500 plus. They paid for a 1,500 plus, and then they didn't get it. The emotional devastation was a real thing. And so now let's look at another user on Reddit reviewing PrepExpert. Let's look at that one. Okay, and this one tells us a defying plan. It's probably not really a guarantee unless you do a ridiculous number of practice questions, have taken official tests before, yada, yada, yada. And then there's the cost. Let's talk about the price of this. So the 6-week flagship course is around $1,200. 8-week capstone is around $1,700. So for $1,200, you're mostly getting a curriculum built around Sean Patel's 100 strategies. Independent reviewers like Test Prep Insights have noted that PrepExpert is extremely heavy on strategy and surprisingly light on hard content review. So if your kid doesn't actually know the underlying math concepts, learning a strategy to guess the answer isn't even going to help because they don't even know the content in general. And it's not even going to help them on the adaptive digital SAT, which actively punishes students who rely on tricks rather than fundamental understanding. So you're going to have to really think about this. Do you want to go to Sean Patel where they teach you strategies and never actually teach your child the real content and give them that enrichment and education they need before college? Think about that. You want your child to actually build an education because that's why you're taking them into school in the first place. And so if your child's mentor is just teaching strategies and tricks on like how to get your score quicker, how to increase your score quicker, that's never going to help. You always want to rely on cores, fundamentals of education. The core and the fundamentals of education are what will bring you from an average student to an exceptional student. Remember that.
Now, let's do a deep dive into his YouTube, because unlike some of the other platforms we've reviewed, looks like we actually have some content that we can observe from this individual right here. Now, the first thing we're really seeing is this guy, his claim to fame is Shark Tank. All he does is talk about the most dramatic pitch in Shark Tank history, how to get on Shark Tank, this and that about Shark Tank. Clearly, he wasn't chosen to be in this position of kind of worldwide educational acclaim. He was engineered there through a TV show, through the luck of the draw. And so we have to take that into account. This man and PrepExpert, they didn't reach this level of acclaim through their actual results. They got it via a TV show. Let's see what their pitch was all about. Wow. So what do we see there? That's his claim to fame right there. What do we think about that?
I wasn't able to hear it because it doesn't like this.
So basically what happened is this, first off, a study of physiognomy. Do we really want him trusting? Like, can we really trust him with our child's future? This individual right here? Let's really take a step back here. This is very dangerous right here. So first off, the physiognomy is a dead giveaway, but let's put that aside for now. What we saw in this clip is this man basically just begged for some money. He offered 10%, 250K. Cuban was like, I'll give you 250K for 20%. Sean counter offers 15%. Cuban's like, no. Sean counter offers again, 300K. Cuban's like, no. And then what does he do? He says, okay, I'll take it. So this is his claim to fame, begging for money from Mark Cuban. And we really want to call this guy the king of the SAT? He didn't even take a digital SAT. This is insane. It's ridiculous right there. But yeah, then they say Money Making Conversations podcast with Sean Patel. Somehow this guy has worldwide acclaim and he's getting 79 views a video. Very fishy from this individual. Now he's giving side hustle advice. If you're a parent listening, you have to be wondering, where is this guy's expertise? Is he some kind of entrepreneur? But he's only an entrepreneur because of a gift he got from Mark Cuban. And then outside of that, what is he actually good at? Let's see what advice he has on side hustles. So when he first took the SAT, he scored average.
So did he really get a max score back then?
Very efficient. All right, so what's crazy is he genuinely gave zero advice on side hustles. He just told his own story there. So this guy, one thing we're seeing from him is a track record of lies. The guarantee they have, they don't actually follow through on it. The video thumbnails and titles, they don't actually follow through on that. And what do we see here? Facebook, anonymous participation or participant. Has anyone used PrepExpert? Joycey Lynn. I formerly worked for them and cannot recommend them. Their head counselor does not have any memberships in professional organizations, nor does he have any admissions experience. That's crazy. We caught them live in 4K.
Let's zoom in on that one. Might have to be the thumbnail of the video.
Yeah, this is just straight facts right here. Cannot. So what we're seeing is they've engineered a platform via Shark Tank. He went on there and publicly begged for a little bit of cash to get his idea off the ground. And then let's see any of their, so this might be some kind of advertisement from them. All right, man. First things first. Do we see his eye? Genuinely looks like two like sinister, like these are genuinely the eyes of a villain right here. Why does he have black shadows all around his eyes? It's very strange. He genuinely looks like a Batman villain. And then everything else about him. See, Frankenstein has the dark shadows around the eyes too. This is just, I mean, just right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? That's a sharp criticism of him. We cannot look past that. All right. A more just random AI slop. He basically just said the SAT is more important because of AI. But does he ever address the fact that 40,000 jobs are being eaten by AI every single week? And the fact that the only way out is through Ivy League scholarships. This man has no actual credentials on getting into Ivy League schools with scholarships. On Patel. Wikipedia. So he has a LinkedIn. So what do we see here? He went to USC to school, so not an Ivy League school. Very unlikely that he got a scholarship out of it. And he's Gujarati. It's a red flag right there as well. And when we look at the activity, his main thing is being a Shark Tank winner. His second thing is being a dermatologist. So you have to be wondering, what does he actually know about what works in the modern day? What works today? So first things first, these kind of text testimonials are not trustworthy at all because this could genuinely be written by anyone. We don't have an actual student saying that. See, compare that to this company right here. Because when you go on the videos and you scroll down through all this sauce, we have an actual student giving his actual experience with Ignite. And what do we have? 1,500 in just 45 days. The actual student telling a story. This can be trusted. But this just text, it can genuinely just be AI slop. Like you never know. So what they do is this. They say fresh season, fresh savings on test prep. Use Spring 30 for 30% off SAT and ACT courses. So let's see what kind of courses they have. I see So they have prep courses taught by these other individuals. Very strange. Let's see, who is this? So all we can see is the reviews for him. Who is Raga Mahajan? Oh, it's this guy. So this is who he has teaching some piece at. He goes to the University of Rochester. So let's see real quick. 40% of people who apply to that university get in. It's very interesting. Now compare that to our tutors. Down right here, you'll see one of our tutors, Jonah. Now he goes to Northwestern University. 7%. And what you'll find probably crazy is when you rank all of our specialists by the schools they went, Jonah's actually bottom of the list. No offense to him, but we have Alejandra at Princeton University, Caden and Bradley at Columbia University, Sid and Pavan at Harvard University, Anna and Chris at Yale University, and Juliana at Stanford. We have an entire Ivy League roster, a lean team of specialists that all have perfect scores and that have all worked with our students one-on-one. And anytime a student comes to us, they only get access to the best of the best. But what we see from PrepExpert is they're hiring anyone. They're hiring genuinely anyone. People that went to 40% acceptance rate schools, middle of the line, people with no other career prospects. Let's see if this was maybe an inaccurate representation. Let's see who else they have. So they hired this guy who went to the University of Wisconsin. That's like 60% acceptance rate with a terrible bio in his LinkedIn. It's not even developed. This guy had no other career opportunities until Sean Patel found him. What we can see is Sean Patel is hiring teachers off of the streets. When you look up these people, their PrepExpert profile shows up before their LinkedIn, indicating to you they had no career opportunities before that. Who is this guy? Coach at SAT. Zero accomplishments. Who is Sean Patel hiring to teach your children? He's getting them from the bottom. He's genuinely just going to bus stations and giving out jobs. This man cannot be trusted. Sean Patel is quickly becoming one of the fissiest individuals in the entire education space. Oh, hell no. He's posting shirtless pictures of himself online. This guy is very strange. Zach, what do you think about this?
I feel like Bro needs to get on some peptides, to be honest.
Low-key. And what's crazy, his eyes were here, then they went there. This guy is genuinely Frankenstein in the flesh. This is very strange. So look, if you're a parent and you were seduced by the insane levels of marketing and ad spend that Sean Patel put out there, you have to realize he only has ad money to spend because he begged Mark Cuban for a little bit of cash. And that's when he started this whole marketing push. But you have to understand that when you peel back the marketing, this is as fishy as it gets. They hire randoms off the street. We've done a real deep dive into the tutors they offer you. It's people like Kevin Parrish, coach at SAT. Whereas look at the tutors that we offer. This is one of our tutors, Jonah Parrott, Northwestern University, designs the F1 cars on the dean's list. That's just one of our tutors right there. Yeah, sweet. This is one of our other tutors, Alejandra from Princeton University. She teaches our students all the subjects, including bio. Bradley from Columbia, and many more. And what you'll need to understand is you can browse to our channel and see us actually bring our specialists on. Because whereas this company, PrepExpert, lies to you about a random guarantee, sets you up with randoms who probably make $5, $10 an hour, and then just really tries to grab your money and move on to the next, we actually set you up with only Ivy League specialists, people that are paid the best of the best, top dollar. This person went to the University of Texas. Like, we have to understand UT Dallas is not UT Austin. UT Dallas has a much higher acceptance rate. Sean Patel is hiring randoms and not a single one of them have an Ivy League pedigree. Even Sean Patel doesn't have an Ivy League pedigree. So how can he have any knowledge on what you're actually going to see on that SAT? See what he does. And let's keep it very, very honest here. When we look at Frankenstein and we look at Sean Patel, there is an eerie similarity that makes it very difficult to trust this man. But even more than that, when you actually look at the kind of content he produces, his entire claim to fame is all about Shark Tank. Shark Tank this, Shark Tank that. Would you really trust your child's future with someone that their entire claim to fame, the biggest accomplishment they had in their life was getting onto the Shark Tank TV show and getting $250K from Mark Cuban? And keep in mind, he clearly didn't put that money into education. He clearly didn't put that money into affording to hire the best of the best specialists. No, he took that money and pocketed it. And this is his big money grab. You see, a company that got $250K years ago and now only averages 30 views, that's a company that pocketed the investment money, hired randoms, and scams parents and children worldwide. So ultimately, let's summarize the PrepExpert playbook. Step 1. Use an outdated 2400 perfect score from a decade ago to establish authority. Done. Step 2, leverage the Shark Tank and Mark Cuban association to build trust. Step 3, charge premium prices, 1200 plus for a strategy heavy, content light curriculum. Check. Step 4, hook parents with a massive 200-point guarantee. Check. And step 5, protect that guarantee with an impossible maze of fine print and technicalities so that you rarely, if ever, have to pay it out. Check. And what do we find from Mark Cuban himself? This individual that basically lends all the credibility to PrepExpert. This is who they're banking on. The name of Mark Cuban, but Mark Cuban. Significant scandals. He bought the Dallas Mavericks and it instigated a toxic, misogynist culture. What do we think about that, Zach?
Some crazy stuff.
Exactly.
Crazy stuff.
Evidently, Mark Cuban doesn't even know. Like, he'll give businesses money, but these businesses are not made better because of it. This one implicated him in harassment charges, and he was forced to donate $10 million and hire a new CEO. Clearly, being invested in by Mark Cuban doesn't mean a thing. And that's what Sean Patel has banked his entire life on. Is PrepExpert a complete and total scam? Yes, you are buying an optimized sales funnel. If you are going to spend $1,200 or more on test prep, you don't need a prepackaged course built around a decade-old test. What you need is targeted, individualized practice, instruction built specifically for the modern digital SAT. You need a program that focuses on identifying where your child's processing power is breaking down and fixing the fundamental gaps in their knowledge, not just teaching them hacks and tricks. You see, that's exactly why we built Ignite Test Prep, and especially the Elite Mentorship. We don't sell you a Shark Tank origin story. We don't hide behind impossible fine print. We focus on the exact science of optimizing student outcomes on the tests they are actually taking today. We build the real processing power. We fix the underlying content gaps, and our results speak for themselves without needing some 10-page terms of service document to protect us. In fact, we stand behind our guarantees so well that we offer free tools, completely free, to help you ace the SAT without paying a single cent. So you don't have to go to their prepackaged courses taught by randoms so that Sean Patel can pocket 99% and not follow through on his guarantee. Instead, for free, use our tools. IgniteTestPrep.com/vocab will teach your child everything about the vocab with daily, fun, gamified practice. IgniteTestPrep.com/SAT will give your student daily SAT questions in a gamified way to make learning fun while building them that 1600 perfect score. And most importantly, IgniteTestPrep.com/blackbook, because we sat down our entire Ivy League team and we asked them what's everything that a student needs to know to crack the SAT, crack their GPA, and crack Ivy League scholarships. And we spent days, weeks, around the clock putting it all into this one book, IgniteTestPrep.com/blackbook. This free tool will outperform everything you'll ever get from PrepExpert. If you bought all their courses and one-on-one with Sean Patel for years, you'll get more value out of the black book than anything you'll ever find from Sean Patel. Guaranteed.
All right. So if this video opened your eyes, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't wait. You need to hit that subscribe button now because we're going to be posting daily. We post on Instagram, TikTok, and most importantly, YouTube. We're going to be posting daily. So make sure to hit that subscribe button because we're going to be exposing the entire test prep industry, company by company, because parents deserve to know where their money's actually going. So just let me know in the comments who we should investigate next, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.